we've tried this a few times, but I'm so happy to see your face.
Thank you. I've been seeing your face, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, so let me introduce you. So, and I'm saying it incorrectly. You're the founder of Pot
Pas de, DSL. Pas de,
DSL. Okay. And my husband is French, so I should be able to say that.
come on,
Um,
David.
but what you do you know, work with individuals and groups and teach online now by using dance and sign language together. And so I saw online, I saw your stuff, and I thought, this is awesome, number one. And number two, how has everything, you know, just the global pandemic and, you know, being an instructor and having to shift what you do in person, which is that kind of personal connection
Yeah.
for those who, and I don't know, you know, how people respond to you in person. I'm assuming it's glorious, but how are they responding to you now online?
Yeah, you're, everything has changed, you know, and it's not like it's changed to something that you kind of know, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
there's nothing that is knowable about this.
Yeah.
So we're all just floundering. Um, and, you know, that comparison of having the live bodies in front of you to now this little like 2D 3-inch image is very limiting and very scary. But it's better than nothing. And it is this wonderful, you know, connection that we're able to keep, which is so extremely important.
Yeah.
You know, you just try to be positive. You just have to keep going. It's not like you can just crawl up in this little fetal position and wait until it goes away.
Right. Exactly.
And I think as dancers, we can't just sit still anyways, you know.
No.
We have to move and we have to reach out. And, you know, as choreographers, I think as creators, we're always just like, okay, well, that didn't work.
Right.
Like we've been doing for the past 10 minutes here.
Right. But that's okay. So when you're doing work with your students, like, tell me, because I don't know all of your stories. So how did you, obviously you can hear me, so you're not deaf, but you do sign. So how did you learn all of that in order to incorporate it into what you do?
Yeah, well, so I grew up dancing, but I was born in a little cow town in way the fuck upstate New York. Oh, can we swear on Instagram? You know, people say upstate New York. Oh, I'm from Purchase. No, I was 20 miles south of the Canadian border, 500 miles north of New York City, so up there.
Nice.
So I never really had, you know, the wonderful ballet background that is needed for a dancer. So pretty much as soon as I was able to escape, I did. And I came out to Los Angeles. Yeah. And I've loved every minute of it. I love Los Angeles. You know, I mean, I've made my home here. I live in Highland Park now. I own a house here. It's beautiful. But I danced all my life. And then after I got out here to Los Angeles and I started going to a junior college, El Camino, for their dance program because it was cheap. And they had a great program there. And but they also had a sign language program.
Okay.
So somebody came in and said, hey, you want to join our sign dance group? And I'm like, oh, well, that sounds kind of cool. Because I always liked languages.
Yeah.
You know, I had went to the United Nations as a young girl and saw all the languages and thought, this is so cool. And I studied Latin as soon as they let me.
Yeah.
I studied Latin, you know. But I knew I knew I wanted to work with languages, you know. So then next was French because en ballet, tout le monde en français, and j'ai vécu avec Québec, Québécois, and Montreal and all that. So I liked French. I studied that, which did me absolutely no good, kind of when I came to California, because Los Angeles is all Spanish. So I switched to Spanish, and I thought,
also,
you know,
I have to tell you, my husband says there's a lot of similarities between French and Spanish. So.
Oh, yes, there is. And Latin, because they're both Romance languages.
Right, right.
So, yes, there is a similarity. Yeah. Not in any of the pronunciation.
No.
You know, I did not realize that Spanish was phonetic. The O's are always O, the A's are always
Yeah,
I.
yeah.
You know, so I mean, I'm looking at these Spanish words and I'm pronouncing them with a French accent because that's how you pronounce a foreign word, you know. So yeah, I was quite entertaining in my Spanish 1 class, you know.
Oh my.
So I know, because, you know, I mean, I come out here to Los Angeles and they're going, okay, today numbers, uno, dos, tres, cuatro, you know, and I'm like, wait, uno, okay, I got that one, you know. I mean, people are like going to 30 before they even drop out. So, but it was
Oh,
a little catch-up game, but
yeah.
you know, I mean, I like languages, so I played well, and then so I went to join this sign dance company, and they weren't exactly very high level dancers, but I didn't know any sign language. But I said, well, let me choreograph for you. So I started choreographing for them, and when there was words being, you know, the lyrics, I didn't know what to do, so I kind of let them go. But I learned that El Camino had this wonderful sign language program. So I started taking sign language classes, and it's a dancing language. So, you know, it fits so perfectly. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
But what the group was doing was they would take a song off the radio, and then and where the lyrics are frozen, and then they would take sign language, American Sign Language, which has a totally different grammar, syntax, morphology, you know, and then they try to make it fit,
Yeah.
you know. And so I thought a much better way would be to create something with the sign language, with the ASL, to use its natural grammar, and then fit the words and the dance into that.
Yeah.
And it's about the same time I started hanging out in the poetry community. So, you know, you go to enough bad poetry readings, and after a while you go, I could write better than that, you know? And so I would start writing, you know, these poems, but then I would go, oh, you know what? If I change the English a little bit, it'll match the ASL. So I
Yeah.
started composing poetry with ASL, and then, you know, of course, the dancing in the ASL. So I would encourage people to combine their loves. You know, if you have your because we usually a dancer will have some other art form, you
Right.
know, they're expressing themselves in.
Yeah.
So combine them, you know, figure out how to do it. So yeah, I started choreographing that way, and then I realized, you know, there's other sign languages out there. So there's American Sign Language, there's Japanese Sign Language, there's Russian Sign Language, you know, and they're different. You would think the closer the culture, the closer the language, kind of like the Romantic languages, English and French and Spanish, like this. Now, American Sign Language has its roots in French Sign Language. So
Okay.
this is why a lot of our signs are like good comes from the B, bon, and boire comes from boire to be, and comment is the C, you know. So there's a lot of French sign language. Our roots are in sign language, not British Sign Language. British Sign Language is its whole other bird. It's just a different grammar, syntax, morphology, everything. So so, you know, when you have a different sign for the same concept, like I did, well, the first piece that I did was this reincarnation piece. And so it was on a modern dance kind of genre. And the signs were birth, life, desire, change, want, what, vision, goal, struggle, death, you know. And then there were like different suites, different acts, or different you know, so one would be meet, friend, conflict, friend, you know, and then at the end it was, you know, love, self, spirit, free, you know.
Yeah.
But each one of those signs are different in a different sign. So like in American Sign Language, you would have birth, and then Japan, and of course this would come from here, you know, Russian, Japanese tanjo, you know, and Russian is, you know, Razenia, you know. So because
Right.
the sign is different, then the
The dance,
choreography would
right? The
the
dances,
choreography would be different.
yeah.
So it was a really cool experiment because everybody's signing birth, which is kind of, clear. People are like, but the choreography is different.
Yeah.
And it's quite a beautiful piece. And I ended up having 6 sign languages for my bachelor degree when I produced it for that. So we had
That's great.
American, Japanese, yeah. So
Well, so now what you're doing here in the studio, you do sign language as well as dance incorporated together, but how does that translate online? And so when you're, because I know Zoom has delay, so
yeah.
how does that work with your students? Like, are they fully engaged? Like, how do you have to do extra special things? Like, so I'm
Yeah.
not knowing. So I'm asking you.
Well, the classes online are just right now. I started doing them online just to have something to do,
Mhm.
to keep us together as our group. And I was actually July was disco month. So we were just using American Sign Language, and we were doing all the different disco dances with sign language.
Mhm.
This next week, though, we're going back to repertoire. So we're going to start with La Bamba. That
Mhm.
was part of our last recital. So we're doing La Bamba with Mexican Sign Language, and we're actually doing folklorico dance with this, for the dance genre. Um, we were all set to do Korean Sign Language with K-pop, and the pandemic hit.
Oh.
I know. And then we were working on indie sign language with Bollywood dancing.
Mm.
So, what I think one of the impacts of moving online with this genre is that you can connect internationally, you know.
Yeah.
So, see, this July, last week, the week before last week, in July, there was supposed to be a huge deaf expo in Las Vegas. And there was like probably 50,000 deaf people from all around the world coming. We were bringing our dance company. We were going to present dances with American sign language, Ethiopian sign language, Russian, classical ballet in Russian, Ethiopian and African, Mexican and folklorico, the Korean, K-pop, and indie with Bollywood. So we were going to present these 6 dances
Yeah.
with the different languages and stuff. So, but of course that came crumbling down. So
Right.
now what I'm thinking of is, and I'm trying to, make that lemonade, out of lemons and be
Yeah.
positive,
Yeah.
is that now I want to offer these classes and these dances online so
Uh-huh.
that people, the deaf community and dancers, my group is totally all inclusive. I have deaf, I have dancers, I have non-dancers, I have signers, I have non-signers. If you
Yeah.
want to join, you're welcome. We make it happen. But I'm hoping that next year, the expo is set to happen again.
Mm-hmm.
So, but if we can teach our repertoire online, then, my dance, I have connections with dancers in Israel and
Mm-hmm.
Argentina, and they are set to come to Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
So, if we know the choreography, then, I can have these dancers from all over the world. We come with a
Yeah.
minimal amount of rehearsal. We could put it together. So,
Yeah.
you're just trying to use this technology to its advantage, I think and I would say, think bigger now. You aren't limited to your neighborhood and who can get in a car and drive to you. This is
That's
global,
true.
you
That's true.
know. So now, this is just like my dream of, my thought process of like a few weeks. So I haven't really set the infrastructure yet, and I'm not all that savvy with some of this stuff.
We are all on a learning curve here. I think that, when I first did my first IG live, I was like, what am I doing? You know, but you see that with everyone who at least is on IG Live doing tutorials or whatnot, you know, having classes. They're always in the, you know, doing this,
Yeah.
like turning off the comments. So you see that all the time. So not a big deal. But we did it. We did
Yeah, and
it.
and I'll tell you, one of the reasons it succeeded is because of my Instagram guru girlfriend who called me and said, Mona, what are you doing? Because she's online. She's like, it's blowing up over here. They're, how come you can't get in? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm on it. And she's like, girl, you got to be on your phone. I'm like,
Okay.
oh. So I would say, reach out, get those people that know what they're doing, you know, ask for help. And don't, I mean, you might have noticed I'm a little more mature. So, you know, you can't just go, oh, computers, I just don't get it. You know, because as fast as it's moving now, it's going to continue to get faster. And you know, I mean, if you give up now, then, you know, I mean, I figure I got at least another 20, 30 years full of piss and vinegar here, you know. So I can't stop my technology learning now, you know. So
well, and it's just another language for you to learn, right?
cool, good, honey, good.
Yes. Well,
So,
I definitely think that people need to find you where you're at. So the website that people can go to find your classes, what is the website link exactly?
I'm mostly focusing on the Facebook. So facebook.com/PASDASL. And it's the same for the Instagram, PASDASL. I'm also, like I said, when you get to a certain age as a dancer, you kind of transition a little bit. I transitioned to Pilates, so I have certification in Pilates. It's BASI, Body Arts and Science. But so I've incorporated the Pilates and the sign language. So I teach a Pilates for interpreters.
Oh.
And I just did one July 12th online. And, you know, so that was...
You're teaching me as you go online. Is that right?
Online, yeah. Internet, yeah. I mean, so, you know, if listen, combine your arts, keep doing something, you know. I mean, the pandemic it's upended our world, but we're all still alive. We're all still here. We all still have many, many blessings. You know, we have access to this wonderful technology. So, you know, we can make a global community, I think is a good thing. So look what's going on out there. There's a lot of cool stuff going on out there. Glad to look at you.
Well, I'm just trying to keep up, you know. So when I see something really special, which is when I stopped on your page and I was like, this is special, you know. So I want to make sure that people know that you are around, that, you know, people can go to your class, whether it's in person or online at this point, and learn something new. I think that that is a really good thing to do while we're in the pandemic, is learn something new. It doesn't mean you have to change your job, but it does mean that, you know, you can learn a new skill or incorporate it. I feel that there's so many people. I was a professional dancer for a long time, and you know, people would say, oh, well, what's your special skill? You know, I'm a tap dancer first, so that was kind of like my specialty. But there are a lot of people who don't have that like extra something. They're not a salsa dancer that can come in with a partner. They're not, you know, a triathlete or a stunt person that can say that, but they could add what you're doing to their repertoire and increase the visibility, number one, of people who obviously are, you know, hearing impaired, and use that on a daily basis to communicate, but also use it in a very beautiful way to you know, showcase what language can do for dance, or even in sport and Pilates. So I think it's beautiful.
Well, you know, and this is what I will also say out there. Any dancers out there, any choreographers that want to combine American Sign Language or an other sign language, I have access to these other sign languages. I don't know them, but let's collaborate. Let's put it together. You know, I mean, I've done ASL and hip hop, and you know, I mean, I've danced professionally also in ethnic companies and Middle Eastern companies, and you know, ballet, tap, and jazz, and modern, and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, you want to play, choreograph, collaborate,
Mhm.
bring it on, honey. Let's play, you know.
Exactly. I love your spirit. I know I looked at your website. You're very much about energy. So I think that is awesome. And people can find you. I will definitely put your links in everything where I post this so you'll see it. And hopefully people will share it because I think that it's important for people to know that there are other ways to communicate. If you are of the hearing kind, you know, you can participate. If you're not of the hearing kind, this is totally for you too. So I think that, you know, access is important. And especially for those who don't have it, you know, being able to share this with other people is important. So bless you.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
There you go. Thank you. There you go. Good. Yay. And this one too. You know this one?
Now, what is this one?
This is it's like a love ya. It's not love. It's just love ya. So yeah.
All right. Well, I'll see you later. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sandra. Good work.
Bye.
Bye.